the Papa Report. I'm Rebecca Powers here with John Papa of DPS Advisors, securing tomorrow's future today. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you too, Rebecca. How are you?
Great. I always learn so much from you, of course, on your radio shows. You can catch him on Saturdays at 9 and on Sundays at 1 p.m. on The Answer, right?
9:70 a.m. on The Answer.
9:70 a.m.
Right.
So securing tomorrow's future today.
Right.
I love that. That's so important, the word today. How important is it, John, to look at what you have right now and make sure that tomorrow is better for your retirement?
Well, it's extremely important, Rebecca. In fact, today is the best day. Don't put it off till tomorrow, okay? Today's a day where you should sit down if you are retired, take a look at an inventory of your assets. We actually call that the junk drawer mentality at Diversified Planning Strategies. If a client just has a bunch of different things, that's the junk drawer of investing.
And it's okay.
They think it's okay.
Well,
right?
I mean, it's okay to bring it to you.
No,
I guess.
it's okay to bring it to us, right? So, but you got to look at it today.
Gotcha.
Create a plan.
Get organized.
And then try and develop solutions to figure out what you're trying to accomplish in retirement. That's what we do.
You were telling me some great things before we came on the air about taxes. You actually made me feel good because I was worried about taxes this year. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is taxes on qualified plans. And, people don't realize when you use the tax code to your advantage, and there's nothing illegal about it, but using the tax code to your advantage, you have opportunities to convert taxable IRA money into tax-free money later on. Okay, using tax brackets, like, for example, in a married filing jointly today, you can claim up to $315,000 and still be in a 24% tax bracket federally. And for a single person, you can claim up to almost $158,000 and still be in a 24% tax bracket. And the thing about taxes on qualified plans is nobody knows what the taxes are going to be when they retire.
Right.
5 years from now, this tax code in place today is going to set to expire in 2025.
Yes.
New Congress, new administration. We don't know what the tax rates are going to be. So imagine playing a game, this qualified plan game. You saved all your life in a 401k, 403b, but no one told you what the end rules are going to be when the game is over. That's what people are doing today. They're saving in these qualified plans, and we have no idea what the taxes are going to be when you retire or 20, 30, 10 years down the road. What are the taxes going to be? So we try and use solutions using today's code to get money into a tax-free environment so that it doesn't matter what the tax rates are down the road.
And being an independent like you are, instead of one of the big chains, you can look at all the tools out there, every company, everything in the whole world, and fine-tune what's best. What are some of those tools that you decide to use?
Well, exactly, Rebecca. We talk about that, on our show all the time, the financial toolbox, okay? You don't have any preconceived notions. You use any investment, any strategy that works for you that you can get the best result from. We use banks for some money. We use insurance company in the annuity product that are out there that I know has a really bad name, and we talk about this all the time on our show, but there are really good things out there that you can use with the insurance companies that'll help you in these conversion processes. And there's also the Wall Street world. That goes back to our 3 investment world discussion as well. So when you look at all of the tools as a fiduciary, we have to introduce our clients to every financial tool that's possible to be used, and see what the pros and cons are with them, weigh and measure them for the client, and see if it fits their specific strategy. And we just pick the tools that gives the best results. It's a really easy process. It's not difficult. Yeah,
and you said that annuities sometimes have a bad reputation.
Oh, yeah, but really, it's a used car salesman reputation. No offense to used car salesmen.
No offense, y'all are important too.
Yeah, no offense.
But all annuities are not created equally. You have taught me that there are 2 or 3 that you can use.
Right, there's a bunch of different annuities, okay? The variable annuity is the one that gives everybody the bad name, and I don't like to keep bashing the variable annuity, but in my opinion, it's probably one of the worst investments ever created because of the fee structure in there. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time right now on that. The other types of annuities are in the fixed environment where you can't lose any money. You can get a set rate of return for a certain amount of years. You can get principal protection and better growth, not full market growth when the markets are doing well, and that'll give you better returns than what banks give you. But it's safe money, and your money there can never go down. Regardless of what's going on in the stock market or inflation or whatever, those investments never go down. So you have safe money and you have growth Wall Street money. Split them up that way. We can design strategies to either Roth convert, a lot of different things off of that 3-bucket world strategy.
And right now with the news and inflation, as you all know, and gas prices and this looming recession, some of those fixed annuities, that might be one of the tools that you tell a nice, 70-year-old lady, you don't want to risk your money, you don't want to lose it, you want to watch the news and be like, don't care because I'm good.
Exactly. You don't want to put it into a CD at a bank because they're really not giving you a great interest rate return, but some of these fixed annuity contracts, you can get a really nice rate of return for a set amount of period, however long you choose to use. Yeah, it's a great option. It's a great alternative. And as a fiduciary, that's what my job is on your team.
That's right.
We work with clients as a team, okay? Right. My job on the team is to present all the options. I don't ever tell you what to do. I show you what all the options are, pros and cons of what those options are, and then you pick what's best for you. Independent person, you can pick anything you want.
Right.
We'll figure it out and use it. That's what the financial toolbox is all about.
And I know your true philosophy, being a true family man, is at the end of the day, your goal is to give people peace of mind. Right. What is more important than that?
We call it a stress-free retirement, Rebecca.
Yes.
That's what our motto is at Diversified Planning Strategies. We want you to come into our office in a stress-free environment. We want to try and create a stress-free retirement for you. Or if you're not retired yet, a stress-free financial world that you're in. Stress-free is where you want to be.
Exactly. Now, I would like to show this book. I know we talk about it on your radio show, Avoiding the Retirement Traps. You and your sweet father, the late Mr. Michael Papa, I know you kind of grew up watching the financial world because of him.
Right.
And you wrote this book because in 36 years you saw over and over and over these wonderful people making these same little simple mistakes that cost them, for some, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, right. So that book is basically a compilation of 36 years in this business and a lot of meetings, over like 1,000 or something. I don't even know the exact number, but we kept seeing the same things happening in everybody's portfolio. Everybody had a portfolio. There wasn't really a plan. And we saw in these portfolios the same pitfalls. So we tried to address them. Hey, let's write them down, put a book out, and we'll look pretty cool as an author. So,
but it's been great because it is very simple.
A little educational, simple.
You kind of dumbed it down for all of us because even when you say things like unqualified and qualified accounts, most of us, I learned it from working with you, but qualified means taxable.
Well, exactly. So let's talk about that. We talk about that in our legacy and estate planning with clients, okay? You need to know where your money fits on the wheel, the tax wheel, okay? You have tax now money, which is what we call non-qualified. These are investments that you pay taxes on the interest you're earning as you get them.
Okay.
Whether it's a stock where you're paying capital gains tax, you're paying them yearly. That's the tax now bucket. Then there's the tax deferred bucket, or qualified money. This is your 401k, 403b, 457, IRAs. They're all tax deferred, where you put money away, get a tax deduction, but you don't pay taxes until later. And that could be a problem because we don't know what the costs are later. We just talked about that.
Right.
Okay? And then you have the third bucket, the tax-free bucket. Here you have Roth IRAs, you have life insurance. There's a bunch of things, tools that you can use, that you can create that'll be tax-free to you and tax-free to your kids and grandkids. So map your assets out on the tax chart. Where are they tax-wise? And then design a plan depending on what you're trying to do. If it's to leave a legacy, I'll give you an example. We had a couple come in who we're working with who were retired teachers, have a great pension.
Good.
Okay, make a nice salary. Don't use their retirement money for income. They don't need it because of the pension, right? So we were able to show them that we can convert some of their assets a little bit at a time in a 20% rate to pass on over $1 million to their kids in retirement when they pass on. Two retired
New Jersey teachers are going to pass $1 million to their children.
Tax-free.
Tax-free. Would you rather Uncle Sam get that $600,000?
Who would your partner rather be?
Exactly. Amazing. Let's take a very short break, John, and I just want to remind everyone about this wonderful book because I was reading it last night. It's really so helpful. And will everyone who comes to meet you get one of these?
Everybody who comes in is going to get a copy of the book.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Tell them what else they're going to get if they call this number.
So, folks, you need to dial 844-534-4452. We're going to give you an introduction to what we call our Diversified Planning Strategies Report, our DPS report. That report is going to give you a 5-point review on everything that affects you in retirement. We hit on taxes today, taxes on qualified plans. It could be income planning. Do you have enough income to cover your expenses? Market volatility, risk, anything that affects your current situation in retirement. So you call 844-534-4452. Our team's ready. Get a date on the calendar. Come in and get your version or your copy of the DPS report so you too can live a stress-free retirement.
Absolutely, and this is complimentary, no obligation. John even says leave your checkbook at home. You could even leave your statements at home. He really just wants to get to know you, and you can get to know his team. All right, stay with us, talking more about how you can keep more money instead of giving it over to the IRS. Very important. Stay tuned.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have. By running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go, and who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
Welcome back. I'm Rebecca Powers here with John Papa, and we are helping you retire with wonderful peace of mind. We were talking about taxes, and it's so wonderful that you have all of these tax options and these little wiggles that you can do. When they come to meet you, you also give them a tax analysis. Is it specifically for them or just kind of a class on taxes?
No, there's nothing cookie cutter in the approach. It's always specific to the client that comes in. So, you know, we're going to look at how much you have in your qualified plan now, and then we can use tools to estimate a growth rate, see how much it's going to grow to by the time you're ready to retire, and take the distributions out. We can calculate what your distributions will be, so how much taxes you're going to pay on your required minimum distributions, and then we'll also play it out to, we don't know when we're going to pass, but at life expectancy ages, how much is going to be left there that you're going to give to the kids. So like we were saying before, if you are younger than 72 years old, and we have this all the time, a lot of clients come in, they're not 72 yet, that's the RMD date. That's the last year you can wait before you have to start taking money out.
Let me translate. Required minimum distribution.
Right. Talk a little fast.
No, not fast. You just know so much, and when you say certain things, I just have to say, okay, let me just translate for our new people.
Required minimum distribution.
At 72, the government makes you take that.
So if you're younger than 72, you have time to convert this money to tax-free money that if you want to pass that on down to your kids and grandkids. Like the example I gave you before with these teachers, their IRA was about $500,000 that they had when they came to see us. We knew that we had a lot of time to get to 72 because they were 62. We had 10 years. So we were able to slowly move almost all of that money into a Roth IRA. They don't need it because of their teacher pensions, right? And Social Security. They don't need it. And all this money now, over $1 million, is going to go tax-free to their kids. They were ecstatic. They came in thinking like they had no idea what they were going to do.
Isn't that amazing?
They thought they were going to be passing on a $500,000 tax bill to their kids. And in a matter of a few years, we can get out of that and give a tax double the amount and tax-free. Tax-free is key.
Right, and you change their life in a few hours.
Yeah, a few meetings, it's multiple meetings. It takes however long it takes. So we don't really put a timetable on that. If it takes 3 meetings, it takes 3, 5, whatever it is.
That's amazing.
Stress-free. We work slow. I talk fast, but we walk slow. We work slow.
So when you say tax deferred, growing up, I would hear my parents say, "Oh, we can push off our taxes, or we can defer." But you make a very good point. You don't want to defer these days because taxes are not going to be any lower.
So I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? You would say to myself, why would I want to tax defer in low tax brackets now, when I don't have any clue of what the tax rates are going to be later? So now let me ask you a question. We just were told that the administration approved the use of 87,000 more IRS agents. Do you think they're going after the 1%ers in the world? No, they're going to be going after middle America, small business owners, people who make under millions of dollars, and they're going to be looking at people's tax returns. So tax rates aren't going to be going down in anyone's future in our life, in my opinion, and all the accountants I talk to, tax rates are going to be going up. So why would I want to defer into on a low bracket now to be in a much higher bracket later than when I have to take the money out?
Absolutely.
It's like imagine playing a game with your children, but nobody knows the rules to the game.
Right. It's fine. Just go. Roll the dice.
How do you play that game?
Fine.
That's what the government's telling us with these tax-deferred accounts. It's fine. It'll be great later. You'll be in a lower bracket later. No, how do you know? How do you know? So that's kind of what we talk about. If you get a match at your 401k, we'll say contribute to that. But I'd rather see funding in a Roth 401k, Roth IRA, tax-free tools that are out there. If we use life insurance, it depends if we're looking for legacy stuff. Tax-free environment is always better than tax-deferred and taxable.
So if you're still working and you have a 401k, can you still work there and start to move it to Roth?
That's a great question, Rebecca, and we get that all the time. It depends on how old you are, okay?
Okay.
If you reach age 59 and a half at your company, you can then, over 59 and a half, you can do what we call an in-service rollover, roll it out to your IRA, and then implement all these strategies that we would work with you. You can't work with those strategies inside a company 401k because there's rules to that 401k plan.
Gotcha.
The company's set in place. You can't change those rules. You can work in an IRA space where all the rules are open to you.
Okay.
All the techniques.
And I should know this by now, hosting with you, but what is the difference between a 401k and an IRA?
Okay. A 401k is a company-sponsored retirement plan. It's the teacher's version is a 403b. You get to put money into this 401k or 403b. You get a tax deduction on it. It grows tax deferred. And then eventually when you retire, there's a bucket of money that you have to start taking distributions out when you reach age 72. It's a retirement plan. An IRA is the same exact thing, but it's not a company-sponsored thing or a government-sponsored thing. It's just a tax code in an IRA, individual retirement account. It gives you the same tax-deferred benefits of the 401k and the 403b, but on an individual basis. So you don't have to be part of a company.
So if it's not your company and it's not the government, what is it? Where is it? Who is it?
It's invested in whatever custodian you want to invest the money in. The IRA just means individual retirement account that the IRS recognizes that the funds in there act like a 401k plan,
Gotcha.
a tax-deferred account.
Okay.
It's not owned by anything, or it's just available through the IRS code.
Okay. So when you talk about stocks and bonds, we do not want to, of course, make anyone nervous, but it's a little dicey on Wall Street these days,
I would
right?
say more than a little dicey. More than a little. It's actually the worst start to the stock market in like 45, 50 years.
Yeah. But there is some silver linings. You say there are still opportunities.
Absolutely opportunities. Again, you have to know what the purpose of the money is for, right? See, that goes back to our three world mentality, our three investment world mentality.
Yeah.
If a person has all their money in the Wall Street world and they think they have a plan and it's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, REITs, variable annuity, whatever, it goes up and down with the markets. You know, it's affected by, all those investments are affected by some type of market condition, okay? That's not a diversified plan. That's not a protected asset. You need to look at the tools in the other worlds. Like I said, banks before, insurance company products in the fixed annuity space. You can move your assets around to reduce the risk of the portfolio so that you can lower how much risk you're actually taking. Because, Rebecca, not everybody knows, most people don't know how much risk they're actually taking in a portfolio. And we have tools to measure that. So we use reports from Morningstar. We use a lot of different things to show people what those risks are and how we measure them, how much their portfolio is exposed to losing on the downside. That's my version of risk for a client.
Right.
How much are you willing to lose? That's what risk means to me.
Yeah, so you analyze that risk.
Yeah, we analyze that.
And again, your book makes it so simple. It just kind of spells it all out. But you also, you mentioned that three kind of buckets of money. That's another thing that you simplified. So let's talk about that. When we come back, we need to take a quick break. There's the safe money, the risky money, and then what's in between.
We'll get on to
but
that.
let's give that number. We only have about 10 slots that we save each week for you, each broadcast, to get an appointment with John Popp and his wonderful team.
Right. So for the first 10 callers out there, if you dial 844-534-4452, we're going to introduce you to the Diversified Planning Strategies Report, our DPS report. It's a 5-point review that will go over everything in your portfolio or your plan that you have, whether it's taxes, market risk, fees on investments, income planning, everything that you need to succeed in retirement, to have a stress-free retirement. So dial 534-4452. Get a date on the calendar. You come in a stress-free environment, get your version of what your diversified planning strategy report could be. So call now, and we're waiting for you.
Absolutely. All right, stay with us. Take a quick break. We'll be right back.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back. I'm Rebecca Powers here with John Papa, and we are learning so much as always. I love hosting with you because I feel like I owe you so much for making it so simple. And you also came up with this kind of three.
Right.
Let's talk about that. The 3 places or ways your money can be.
Yeah, about, maybe 10 years ago with client meetings coming in, we had to figure out a way to simplify everything. We're simple people. My dad was a simple guy. I still work with clients with a notepad and pen and paper. You're not getting spreadsheets from me. Excel, I don't even know how to use Excel. So we write everything down. So we had to figure out a way to present and show clients, hey, you have other options with your money. So how can we do this? So we created this 3 investment world sheet and I had somebody design it for me because I couldn't do it, to talk about where your options are to put your money. Everybody thinks it all has to go into Wall Street, okay? And Wall Street spends trillions of dollars in advertising for us to think that.
Yeah.
You watch every TV show you watch. You hear financial commercials all over the place. They spend trillions of dollars. So everybody thinks that's the only option you have. So when a person comes in and they bring their statements, because that's what they think their plan is a bunch of statements, we first tell them, well, how much risk are you taking? They have no idea. So we can measure it with like Morningstar report like we talked about.
That's fantastic.
And I can show a client in a 60-40 balanced portfolio, which every advisor is telling every client out there to do, and it just doesn't work. That's down 20% today. There's a whole other issue about that. But when they come in with those statements and you tell them how much they can lose in a portfolio, like, well, okay, I can't do that. I'm older now. I don't have enough time to recover. What can I do? I go, well, first of all, you have to understand where else can you put your money? So there's 2 other worlds. There's the bank world. Now, everyone thinks banks, I'm not putting my money in a bank. Yeah, that's true. We don't want to grow wealth in a bank, but I want to have enough there for an emergency fund and some liquidity in case something happens, okay? And I'm not going to care about the interest rate you're getting there. So we have clients calling us up, I'm not making any money on my bank money. I don't care. Leave it there. It's an emergency fund. We're going to build wealth in your other 2 buckets. Then we split the money into the second world of the insurance company world and the annuity space that we talked about. And then we use Wall Street money for growth. So when you separate, for an example, we have a client with $1 million. They put about 50 grand in the bank for liquidity. That's safe, can't go down. They put about 500,000 of the million into the middle world and insurance companies and either a fixed annuity or an indexed annuity, whatever. It's safe, guaranteed. So, and the rest of the money is in Wall Street for growth. So that client now has half of their assets in products and tools that can't go down, no matter what's going on in the world, okay? The other bucket, with other half of the money, is in the investment world for growth. Okay, based on their risk scores. So now when the world's going crazy like it is now, people are not panicking anymore because they know half of their assets are not going to go down. So you reduce the risk in their portfolio tremendously. They can live stress-free. They're not making panic or emotional decisions. And that's the name of the game in this plan, in this world that we live in.
Exactly.
You know, how do we make it stress-free? How do we make it so you're not making panic or emotional decisions? And we just ride things out by having a truly diversified portfolio. That's what we do.
Right. And so the first bucket I totally understand. In the bank, it's safe. And then the third one over there,
Is
I
Wall
totally
Street.
understand. That's the risky one, but that's where you could possibly gain a bunch of money.
Right.
That middle bucket.
Is the insurance world
But
bucket,
I've never
Rebecca.
been, until I met you, never been taught that insurance can actually earn you money.
Oh, yeah.
You just think of it as when you die, your kids get something.
Yeah, no, that,
so let's
and
unbundle that.
We spend a lot of time with clients on that middle bucket, on the insurance
Yeah.
bucket, because it has misconceptions. People don't know about it. So let's really quickly, we'll talk about the fixed world of an annuity, a fixed annuity where you can get a set rate of return. It works exactly like a CD.
Okay.
You want to give the insurance company some money for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they'll give you an interest rate for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. The longer you give it to them, the higher the interest rate. And when the term's over, you can take the money and move on.
That's
and,
amazing.
And move on with it. There's also a product where you can put your money in, your principal's protected. You'll link the growth, only the growth, not your principal,
Okay.
to an index, like an S&P 500 or something in Wall Street.
Okay.
So your principal's protected, but if the markets are doing well, you'll get better returns inside that indexed annuity contract.
I love
You're not
that.
going to get all the gains in the market. There are some things you need to talk about the cons of them as well. We do that with clients
And that's
to understand
fixed.
it's fixed.
It's not variable.
It's protected, not variable.
Okay.
There's no fees. There's no cost. There's no risk. It's protected money. So we call that, those two, bank and insurance companies, we use protected versions. Your safe money. Wall Street's for growth and risk. And that's,
Okay.
we put some money in there as well. So we split it up that way, and clients, again, go back to not making panic or emotional decisions.
Right.
That's the name of the game.
And you're all about
Stress-free.
education. I know your dad taught you that. That's why you
Yeah.
have your radio show, and then you've written this book.
Rebecca,
and-
on my whiteboard in my conference room, it says, educate and empower people so they can make better decisions with their hard-earned money. I wrote that on that whiteboard probably 10 years ago. It's still there in the same ink I wrote it in 10 years ago.
That's amazing.
We don't take it down.
That's fantastic. Just some 30 seconds left, John. Let's give that number one more invitation.
So let's go, 844-534-4452. Dial that number, get a date on our calendar, and we're going to introduce you to the Diversified Planning Strategies Report. It's basically a 5-point review of wherever your assets are and whatever can affect you in retirement or before retirement if you're not there yet. A review of taxes, a review of market volatility, risk, income planning. Okay, dial 844-534-4452. Get a date on the calendar. We'll see you soon.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. And thank you at home for joining us. We'll see you again next time.